After that, it tells us that you have to like figure out the differences and whatnot. That's where I got my answer wrong.
Oh my Lord, it goes through that.
Yeah.
It goes through like 3 different parts.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and send it to me, and I'll do it again. I'll do the second part. I didn't know I had a second part. I'm sorry.
She does have 5.6.
What?
You said that nobody's.
I said I only have two 5.6 questions to go over.
I thought you said none.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's like the very first one.
I'll wait until you send it.
Last.
Okay, let's go over these two. Recording, so 5.6, number 69/16. 69/16. This is a test question. Now, I'm going to go over the second part of 5.6 with this question because you have to put, this is a unit conversion. Now, we didn't do one like this the other day, but the first thing you want to do, and write this down, number 1, make everything a fraction. Make everything a fraction. What the heck is he talking about? Well, I'll go ahead and show you. Look at, it says, a large waterfall is managed so that the minimum of 90,000 cubic feet of water per second. So that's the first thing.
Can you make that bigger for us blind people?
I can't make it too much bigger because it's going to take the question. Hold on. I'll see. That's about as big as I can make it. One more, maybe. There we go.
I just got 25 points.
Okay, now, this right here is 90,000 cubic feet of water per second. That per right there tells you turn this into a fraction. So I'm going to put 90,000 feet cubed over 1 what? Second. So that's gone. I've just done away with that. Okay? A large waterfall is managed so that a minimum of 90,000 feet per cubic feet of water per second. That tells me to turn that into a fraction. And they also give you a second hint right here. Find the minimum amount of water it will take to go over a 24-hour period. Well, first of all, second thing you got to remember. Number 1, turn into fractions. Now, why didn't we do this in the previous problems that we went over? Because it wasn't a word problem. Okay? This one has units of what? Measurement. Feet cubed per second. This is another type problem. 2, after you do that, you've got to remember that you're multiplying or dividing. And when you multiply or divide, you've got to set up your, okay, let me say multiplying. When you're multiplying, you have to set up to cancel diagonally. Set up to cancel diagonally. This is called unit conversions. You're going to see this in some of your nursing classes. So I automatically know that I've got to put seconds on top. Why?
Because you're dividing.
Because the seconds cancel what? Diagonally. And I'm going to draw that. So that determines what goes on top. Now, what's the next time value? Excuse me. What's the next time value from seconds? Minutes. So how many seconds are in 1 minute?
60.
So 60 seconds are in 1 minute. We don't need minutes. We need what? 1 day or 24 hours. We need that. So now we got to put minutes on what?
On top.
We got to put minutes on top because we're multiplying. How many minutes are in an hour?
60.
And now, we've got to have hours on top. And how many hours are in one day?
24.
So what happens to the hours? And the minutes?
Right.
And now we have cubic feet of water per what? Per day. Now that is a unit conversion. Now you need to rewind this video about 7 or 8 times if you don't understand how to do this problem. Because this is how you do unit conversion,
But what's
whether it's
the
in
answer?
physics, whether it's in science, whether it's in nursing, whether it's in math. That's how you set up a unit conversion.
24.
Number one, you turn what you're given, this right here, you turn that into a fraction. Because they're going to give you something with the word per in it. Second, after you set up your fraction, you've got to think about what goes on top to get rid of what you don't need. How do I determine what you don't need? This right here tells you. You need hours. You've got what down here? What do you have right here? Seconds. So you don't need seconds. You need what? Hours. So that determines that this upper right-hand corner is going to have seconds in it. And then it goes from there. Now we're going to use scientific notation. Because you would have to depend on a calculator for this, and we don't want you to depend on a calculator because you're not always going to have a calculator. And some of you nurses need to be able to make these conversions on the what? On the go. Of course, now they let y'all do, but I'm talking about on a test. They want you to do it, without having to use a calculator. So I'm going to bring this up here. There's our unit conversion setup. Now I'm going to change 90,000 into scientific notation. Well, if it'll let me.
You need to know that monster friend.
1, 2, 3, 4. 9, 0 times 10 to the fourth power over 1. I'm just going to leave the units off because we got cubic feet per day. We know that's what we're going to get. Times 6.0 times 10 to the first over 1. Times 6.0 times 10 to the first over 1. Times 2.4 times 10 to the first. Now what they're wanting you to see here is what are we going to do with the 10 to the fourth, 10 to the first, 10 to the first, and 10 to the first? What is that? 10 to the what?
Sure.
What's 4 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1? 7.
7.
Well, let me erase this because... So we get 10 to the 7th. Oh my Lord, will this thing please work with me? 10 to the 7th. You get to the edges and it starts going. And then 9 times 6 times 6. Now I do realize that that's a BA number. So we know that we got 9 times 6 times 6 times 2.4. And yes, you can use your calculator on that. So I need somebody to multiply 9 times 36 times 2.4. And tell me what you get. And carry it to 3 decimal places. What's 9 times 6 times 6 times 2.4? $777.6 even times 10 to the what?
7th power.
10 to the 7th power. Are we done? No, we are not.
No.
Why?
You have to make it back to the...
It's got to be in scientific notation. So I'm going to take my handy dandy Uno,
Makes me think of
dos,
blue.
and that's equal to 7.776 times 10 to the blank, or 7 blank 3. All right. Which way did I move this in my head, or is that 2? I missed 1. 1, 2. It's supposed to be a 2. Okay. And then, which way did I move this in my head to get it back the way it was? To the right. So that's 7.776 times 10 to the what? 9th power. That is cubic feet per second. Now, I do realize that this right here is the only thing, this is new. But as far as scientific notation, we went over all of that Friday. I think Thursday and Friday. So the scientific notation you should understand.
This is awful.
Why?
It's hard. Like, I don't understand a lot of it, honestly. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, we're going to go over several of them. Well, this is 2 things. You got the unit conversion, which is right here.
Right.
And then you've got the scientific notation. Now, you should understand the scientific notation.
To an extent.
Okay. Well, you should know some of it. So let's type that in. And we'll
It's
do
that last
another.
half that I don't know. I don't understand that.
Okay, well, remember, you have to have, okay, let me ask you one question, you tell me the answer, whoever asked that. What is the definition of scientific notation?
Hold on, I wrote it down.
No. What is the definition? I'm looking for three words that you want to say. Go ahead and say it. No, don't look.
I quit. I don't know.
It's not you say I don't know.
You don't know. Remember what I said in the video because you wasn't here.
Because you
You
have to
can't
know
do-
the definition of scientific notation in order to do scientific notation.
There you go. You've got
See, I
to
did pay
know the
attention.
definition.
Writing big and small numbers with the decimal being to the right of the first and greater than 0.
Exactly. So look down here where you said you're getting a little bit shady. Right here. Where is the decimal right now? It's 777.6. So at that point, you say to yourself, well, I know the definition of scientific notation is the first number greater than 0 is 7. So that decimal's got to be to that 7. So if you know the definition, you know that 777.6 is not in scientific notation. And therefore, you know you have to change it. Okay? We'll do another one. Don't worry. You'll get it eventually. And I'm used to these questions, Miss Woodward, so you're not the first one to ask that question. 777.6 times 10 to the shift up. Now, before I typed this answer in, I went by what y'all told me on the 7776. So I hope you told me right and didn't set me up.
No.
9, thank you. And let's see if we know what we're doing. It's amazing. All right, now I'm going to hit similar. This is what you should be doing for homework. When you got one that's a little bit crunchy, you got to get it smoothed out. So let's do another one. There you go. Hold on, I'm moving. Just give me a second, okay? I know somebody's, I can't see it, I can't see it. Just give me a second.
No, I can see it now.
It's not the same. They should give you something different.
Well, it says 90,000.
They give you the same one?
Yeah, that's the same one.
Okay, well, let's go back to the other question because it's probably the same type. Oh gosh, look. Everybody's sending me questions now.
It's the same.
Yeah.
I was not ready to move on.
Number 16. Let's see if that's
That's the
one.
one we just did.
Oh,
I can't, it's not, it's
I'll
not.
send mine. because
Okay,
it's
send
different.
it, please. Because it's not supposed to regenerate the same one.
Oh, there's another one she sent that, is that one? That was different.
Okay, there you go. No. I want you to, remember, I want to make you be confident, and then when you get on the test, fall in place. So I got to help you with each one. No, y'all do it on your own. I'll sit here and make fun of y'all while y'all do it. How about that?
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a tutor, and isn't a tutor or something that maybe you recommend that because I tell him you don't want us to use the computer, I mean the calculator.
Oh, whoa, no, I never said that. I said you don't need the calculator. There are times that you need it and times that I don't want you to depend on it, okay? Go ahead with your question. I want to make sure I make that distinction. Go ahead.
And he don't, I get, when I'm in class, you teach us how you want it done.
Yeah.
Is it a special tutor or something that maybe I should ask for? Because he basically gives me the answers. He don't show me.
Well, that's the part about having a tutor that can conflict. And the videos don't help you.
Yeah, they do, but I'm
1,000 years, right?
Huh?
1,000 years since you've had school, right? That's what students usually say, 1,000 years.
Well, it's not 1,000 years because I'm good on everything, but I've never been good at math. Never.
Okay. You're gonna what a tutor, and I'd spent years tutoring. Okay, before I was a teacher, I spent a couple of years tutoring. I would always look at the notes of the student, and I would always say, okay, let me see what your teacher's doing. Is this tutor doing that?
Yeah, he asked me like on some questions, he was like, he didn't know why you were doing it the hard way. And I was like,
okay, first of all, who's got the credentials, me or him?
You do. That's why I said, well,
so he needs to realize that. Okay? Yeah. If he or she wants to question what I'm doing, he needs to contact me, or she needs to contact me. Okay? The difference between teaching and tutoring, I teach from the ground level up. That sometimes means that I have to teach the long way around. Okay? I'm explaining this to you because I don't have to explain myself to a tutor. Okay? I'm explaining it to you because you need to understand why I teach the way I do. I teach the ground up because I don't want to teach to students that already know the material. I want to teach from the ground up. So that's why I teach some of the methods that I teach. Okay? It sounds like to me that you need to, have you sent me any questions on homework?
No, I haven't, because
okay, can I ask you, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, I'm just asking you, why not?
Because I just figured that once I had got with my tutor that I would know a lot of answers to.
Okay, I want you to send me every question you have on homework.
Okay.
If you do that, you won't need a tutor.
Okay. And I watch your videos. Now I go back and watch the videos, and I can do a lot of it. That's how I caught up with, like, the first week when I thought I was really lost. I just watched them. And so I was saying, maybe I just don't need a tutor. I need to just watch those videos and just keep watching it over and over.
My suggestion to you, and I know, and like I said, I tutored for 2 years, and I have no problem with tutors. But when a tutor starts saying things like that, that's when you're going to get into problems. Okay?
Okay.
Because if that tutor had the credentials that I have, he wouldn't be tutoring, he would be teaching. Or he's already done it, or she. I'm just assuming it's a he. I don't know if it's a he or not. Usually he's. They know everything, so that's why.
I was going to say the
Same thing. Well, that's what I said. I was going to ask the lady, could I get a female tutor? Because, it seemed like they sit and explain stuff.
Yeah,
He just
a female's a whole
down.
lot better at tutoring.
Okay.
But
Okay. I
let's go with this. Why don't you do this? Let's try 1 week, and you send me any question you have on homework, and let's go from there and see how you feel at the end of that week. Because
Okay.
I'm going to tell you a little secret. If you send me a question, I guarantee you 2 or 3 other people in this class has got the same question you got.
Amen.
Miss Woodward can tell you that. All right. Be glad to go over them.
I got it right.
I don't know you didn't. I'm going to change it.
Actually,
I'm going to change it where you're not going to get it right. All right, so here we go. 150,000 over, that's cubic feet cubed over 1 second. And now I'm going to put seconds on top. Why am I going to put seconds on top?
because there's 6 seconds.
So it will cancel with this one. So 60 seconds in 1 minute. So that minute right here dictates that I'm going to put what up here? Minutes. And there's 60 minutes in what?
An hour.
Hour.
And then hours up here,
24.
there's 24 hours in what?
A day.
1 day. Now let's go through and cancel our units and see what we have left. Hours cancel, minutes cancel, seconds cancel, and we have feet, cubic feet per what?
Day.
And that's what they're wanting. So if you wanted to, the easy way would be to type everything in a calculator. That's the easy way. But I don't want you to do that because you need to understand what you're doing. That way, just remember the cash register person that can't make change. Because that's what you look like when you can't describe what you're doing. So 1.5 times 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Times 10 to the 5th power over 1 second. I'm sorry. Don't need, when we put our units, we got our units. We'll put that at the end of the answer. And then 6.0 times 10 to the 1st times 6.0 times 10 to the 1st. And you can change that into 36, but I want to leave it with, let's add the exponent, so I'm going to leave it alone. 2.4 times 10 to the 1st. Okay? Now, what is 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1?
8.
So our answer is going to be 10 to the 8th. And then somebody multiply, well, I can do that. 36 times half of 36. Half of 36 is 18. 18, 36 is 54. So it's going to be around 108.8 or something like that. What's it come out to be?
129.6.
Okay, I was wrong. 129.6 times 10 to the 8th. Now, that is not in scientific notation because you know the definition. The definition of scientific notation puts the decimal where? Right there. Now, if you don't know the definition of scientific notation, you don't understand why. So, you need to learn the definition of scientific notation. So I'm going to make this smaller and move it up to the top. Is that good enough? Hope that's good enough for you. Okay, now I'm going to bring this down 1.129.6 times 10 to the 8th. I'm going to move 1, 2, so that's going to be, I'm going to put a little arrow there, 1.296 times 10 to the 8th blank 2. And I have to move it to the right to get it back the way it was. So my final answer is 1.296 times 10 to the 10th power. That should be your answer. I'm impressed. And y'all were dreading scientific notation, and y'all are doing it.
With a little help from our instructor.
So I'm going to have to find some impossible problems, so that's discouraged. 2.296 times shift 8, 10, shift up to the 10th power. And we feel good about ourselves. Yes, we do. Okay, those are two good problems. They're good and they're basic. Okay, as far as learning how to do the unit conversions and then how to do the scientific notation. Okay? All right. So now I'm going to go to another question. And I did this one, so I'm going to delete that one. And I can't remember which one else I did, but let me get rid of everything. Hold on a second. Okay, did I do this one? Okay, is that these two the same? Yeah. So let me delete those two. And I'll do these since y'all are sending them. Y'all know you're supposed to send these before class. Y'all know that, right?
I just this one because it's different measurement.
Okay, that's fine, thank you. Okay, here you go. If a cubic millimeter of blood contains 5,700,000 red blood cells, how many red blood cells? Okay, so you need to start off with a fraction. 1 cubic millimeter has 5,700,000 red blood cells. So write it down like that. How many red blood cells are contained in 40 cubic millimeters? So that means we got to cancel out the red blood cells. Okay?
So what?
No, we got to cancel out the cubic millimeters. You're right.
No, I meant like how we do with seconds and everything, are we gonna know what comes after millimeter? 'Cause I don't.
Not right now. We're going to do that in Unit 3. Don't worry, you won't be around. You're going to drop the course by now. You ain't going to make it to Unit 3. All right, so here we go. I'm going to put, now it doesn't matter how you do this, as long as you put the, so 1 cubic millimeter over 1 cubic millimeter equals how many red blood cells? 5,700,000. I'm going to put RBC, red blood cells.
So the bigger number goes on the bottom.
But it doesn't matter as long as you keep them. It shouldn't. Hold on, let me see. Okay, we got to put it on top. I'm sorry, because there's a whole lot more. There's a whole lot more. You got to put them on top. My bad. I'm not a nurse. Okay, 5,700,000 over, that's red blood cells, over 1 cubic millimeter. Now, how many red blood cells are contained in 40 cubic millimeters? So that means what's got to go on top over here? Because what do we need? What does the answer want? Oh, sorry. What does the answer want?
Red blood
Red blood
Red
cells.
blood cells. So that means we've got to cancel what?
millimeter.
We've got to come millimeter cubed. So what goes on top? Millimeter cubed over 1. Because you don't have anything else. There's nothing left else in the question. So how many cubic millimeters? 40. So what cancels? Millimeters. And you're left with a simple 5.7 times 10 to the 6th. 5.7 times 10 to the 6th times 4.0 times 10 to the 1st. Do you need a calculator for this one? No, you do not. If you don't know what 4 times 7 is and 4 times 5 is, there's a problem. So 5.7 times 4 times, somebody tell me what 6 plus 1 is.
I don't know.
10 to the 7. Now, what's 4 times 7? 28. Bring you 2. 5 times 4 is what?
20.
Plus 2 is 22. Times 10 to the what?
7.
Is this in scientific notation? No, it is not. One place. 2.28 times 10 to the 7 blank 1 be a plus. So our answer is 2.28 times 10 to the 8th power. Five times 4 and 5 times 7. I mean, 4 times 7, just like you put the 4 under it and do it in your head. 4 times 7 is 28, bring you 2. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 2 is 22. Now see, and my son gets mad because I teach him how to do that. That should be taught to everybody before the 12th grade. You should be able to do 5.7 times 4 in your head.
Got a quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you multiplied 5,700,000, if you multiplied it by 40, and then put that number in scientific notation, wouldn't be that'd be the same answer?
Yes. 2.28 times 10. But why would you want to do all that work?
I was just curious.
Oh, you were just asking to see if you get the same answer? Yes, you would.
Okay.
Actually, I had a woman do that before. I was telling students to do a problem like this, and she was off to the side of her paper, and she took 5,700,000, and she multiplied that by 40, and she had like half a page of zeros, because all those zeros and she was doing it by hand, bless her heart. I told y'all that in the video, I think. She was actually doing it by hand.
I have a
Then
question.
I would do it.
I'm not answering your questions. 2.28 multiplied by 10 to the what? 8th power. What's your question?
So on the like when I type that in and it comes right, yes. Question this one's already in.
Oh, y'all do this one. What?
This one's already in scientific notation, so it's like
Multiplied by 3.
Don't need a route when you're holding up.
no, I'm on that.
Or it's telling you to write in regular notation. Just send it to me and I'll do it.
Okay. Well, I was just saying because I didn't know how to do it with it on.
Just go ahead and send it to me. Because it's easier for me to see it than it is to you describe it.
I sent mine to you.
Okay.
I didn't want to send it to you.
Okay, she sent one like it. All right, y'all do this one. It says 4,800,000, and you've got 60 cubic millimeters of blood. Talking about all this blood, ain't we got somebody that's offended?
Not at all.
Okay, it's not offensive. Okay, I just want to make sure.
My mom's a nurse. She gets to stick little kids with needles, so.
There's 2 things I could never be. One is a nurse, and the other is a person in retail. Because to me, they're the same thing.
Well, you would not like my family. Let me read.
And a lot of people say it's because of blood and guts. No, I've delivered plenty of babies on the farm. I've delivered baby pigs. I've delivered baby cows. I've delivered baby goats. I can take the blood and the guts. I can't take people.
The fluffy cow. Have you ever seen it?
Oh,
The fluffy cow? Like, it's like really furry.
No,
You ain't seen that?
no, I don't do pet animals. I do
It's a
animals
cow.
to eat. That's what I'm saying. People buy these cows now for pets.
It's a cow farm.
Your pig.
I
Have y'all ever seen Dr. What's his name?
Oh,
Yeah. Those people should not have animals. They're dumb. They're dumb as rocks.
They are.
If you're going to have a herd of cows, you should know how to work on them.
You should at least not put it.
You should know how to give them a
You would
shot of
think.
penicillin. You should know how to take the purple power and put on there's a thing called purple power. This is a spray can,
Yeah.
and it pretty much eats up everything that's not good on a wound, and you spray it all over there. They can't even do that. And then they call the poor man out there. He's 180 years old, and they don't even have a head gate. They don't have a chute. They don't have anything for them cows to stand in. And he's got there ain't no way I'd do it. There ain't no way. That's why I could not be a doctor or a nurse or a retail. I couldn't do it.
Why couldn't you do retail?
Because I couldn't put up with people.
people are so rude. Like,
I couldn't put up with people.
we're so
People say I have PTSD from being in the Marine Corps and over in the desert. No, I just can't stand stupid people. And y'all know
there's so
exactly what
many
I'm
of them
talking
these
about.
days.
Oh, I
Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about normal people. I'm talking about those people that test your last little patient. You know what I'm
Oh,
talking
like
about?
children.
Yes. People that act like grown-up children. They don't get their way, so they throw a what?
fit.
A temper tantrum.
There was a guy who tried to come in and buy a gun one day.
But he's
he
a
was trying to
racist.
buy.
Go ahead.
He was trying to buy it illegally, and I told him I couldn't sell him the gun because of what how he's trying to buy it. And he got mad and said he was going to jump the counter and whoop my ASS.
That's all I got to say is he's live PD. Live PD. That's
I
the
love
kind of
that.
people.
Oh my God.
That's the kind of
Yeah.
people. You're going 105 miles an hour. They don't have an ID. They don't have a license. They get pulled over and they say they ain't done anything wrong. Those are the people I can't deal with.
I'll be on the Facebook for like 2 hours watching these videos.
All right, here we go. I like to watch drunk people get tased.
Me too.
4.8 times 10 to the what? 6. Over red blood cells over 1,
Millimeters.
thank you, 1 millimeter. I'm not, y'all can tell I'm not a nurse person, okay? Times 40 or 60 millimeters cubed over 1. And the millimeters cancel. Oh, I forgot to turn that into 6.0 times 10 to the first. Okay, so 4.8, you do not need a calculator for this. 4.8 times 10 to the 6th times 6.0 times 10 to the first. What is 6 times 8? 48. Bring your 4. What's 6 times 4?
24.
Plus 4
Yeah.
times, what's 6 plus 1?
7.
And move that one place.
Today.
That's going to be plus 1. So 2.88 times 10 to the 8th power. Is our 20 minutes over?
No.
How much
Nope.
more we got? 10 minutes. We got time for one more.
Technically
What?
13.
Okay, 13. Well, listen, y'all send me the questions. I'll go over as many as I can in the 30-minute time period we have. 2.88 times 10 to the, I'm trying to find it, 8th power. I just don't know why it took y'all so long to send questions. Heck, I'd hate to see y'all at a party. Y'all be in a dadgum corner.
I don't go to parties.
Y'all be in a corner like this.
I go to work and home and school.
Ask y'all to send questions 3 weeks later. Oh, I'll send questions. This is the most questions y'all sent the whole semester. Y'all suck.
I don't know about that. 5.3 had quite a few.
Yeah.
Well,
saying.
hey, Miss Woodward, you brought up a good point. 80% of your test is going to come from 5.3 and 5.6.
80% of your questions were from
80% of your
this
test.
one.
So y'all are sending the right questions.
5.3.
All right, Miss Hughes, is this the one you want me to see? That ain't the one?
Do mine. Do mine.
That's the wrong answer.
18? Okay. They want me to do 18 for some reason, so I'm going to do 18.
Yeah, because
Oh, this is my favorite question.
that's why I was sending you.
Okay, now, before we do this question, I want to ask you one question, and I'm going to make a hypothetical out of it. All right? Let's say this is Anderson, and let's say this is Greenville, and let's say this is Spartanburg. All right? And let's say that Anderson, and I'm going to use round numbers because there's always somebody in the group. Well, I don't know where you're going, but that's not the way I go. Shut up. Okay? From Anderson to Spartanburg is 100 miles.
Father, you never asked for
Okay?
that.
Anderson to Spartanburg, let's say I'm using easy math. Anderson to Spartanburg is equal to 100 miles. And Anderson to Greenville is 30 miles. So how far is it from Greenville to Spartanburg? How'd you get
Well,
it?
in it, about 45.
How'd you get it? 70 miles. How'd you get it?
Mine's 30.
You subtracted the smaller amount from what? The bigger amount. Everybody with me? Okay. That's one thing I want to show you on this question. Another thing I want to show you is the formula, which I don't know if they give it to you, but here's the formula that you should know, not only because you're taking a math class, but you should know it in real life. Distance equals rate, or if you don't go into a physics class, I'll tell you, you can say speed, okay? But don't go into a physics class and say speed, because the physics teacher will have a conniption, okay? But you can say speed in here if you want to. Rate times what? What does T always stand for? Little lowercase t. Time. Okay? Remember that formula. Now, let's go with the question. Oh, this is not the planet. There's two planet questions. One is weight and one is distance. I thought this was distance. Okay, this one, I'm going to ask you one question. Miss Woodward bakes a cake, and she bakes a cake, and it weighs 1 pound. Okay?
It's a little cake.
She makes, somebody's always got something to say. Always. Okay. 52 pounds, okay? All right. 1 pound. And she makes 3 cakes. How many pounds is that?
3 pounds.
3 times. You multiply, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's talk about this question. It says, the mass of planet A is 6 point blah, blah, blah. So 6.6 times 10 to the 32nd power kilograms. Now this is not a unit conversion, so you don't have to worry about fractions. This is just greater, okay? Planet B is 7 times 10, or 7 times 10 to the 26th power kilograms. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's say I weigh 270 pounds, okay? And Miss Smith weighs 90 pounds. How much bigger am I than Miss Smith? I mean, times bigger. She weighs 90 pounds, and I weigh 270 pounds. I'm asking y'all to be interactive. I'm not asking y'all to sit there. I want you to
It's
tell
like
me an
3
answer.
times.
How many?
3.
How'd you get that, Miss Woodward?
Subtracted 270 from 90.
Not subtracted.
Multiply, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to interact with you. Sorry.
Thank you, Miss Woodward, for trying. You're a failure. Okay, who's got the right answer? How do you get 3 from 270 and 90? You divide. So what did I put on top? The big one or the little one? 270. The big one goes on top. So what do they want? How many times greater? What are you going to do here? You're going to divide and put the big one where? On top. Which one's the bigger one? Careful.
6 times 10.
Good. That's a good accountant right there. Because it has more what? Zeros. That's more money. So the 6 times 10 goes on top.
Why is it not more money?
So that's the 270 pounds. And how much Miss Smith weigh? 90?
Yep.
Okay, and this is my example. The 270 pounds is the bigger weight, goes on top. 6 times 10 has 32 what? Zeros. How much does this one have? 26. So the bigger one is 6 times 10, so the little one goes on the bottom. Now, do you need a calculator for this one? No. Because you should know that 6 divided by 7 should give you like I think it's 0.8. Go ahead and divide it, check me. It should be 0.8. 6 divided by 7, what is it?
0.85.
Okay, 8.5. Okay, I'll let you use a calculator on this one. 0.8 what? 0.857?
Yeah, it keeps going.
Is it repeating or what?
No, it's like 0.857.
Okay, 0.8571. 0.8571. And somebody take 32, subtract 26.
On the wall.
What's 32 minus 26?
6.
Is this in scientific notation?
Yeah.
No, it is not.
No.
So I've got to move it right here because you know your definition. 8.571 times 10, 6, blank, 1. Which way did I move this in my head to get it back the way it was? To the left. So that's 8.57 times 10 to the 5th. 8.571 times 10 to the 5th. Now let's read the directions. Round to the nearest what? That means not scientific notation. So that means 8.57, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 857 times, 100,000 times bigger.
Wait a minute. Now I'm lost. I'm gone.
Where are you lost?
We went 5 because
That last part you just did, how did you get that, make that a whole number like that?
Okay, what do you do when you go from scientific notation? You move the
You go
decimal how many
backwards.
places? 5 places to the right. That's what I did. Count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 places.
That says it's wrong.
Because you did 6 places.
Did I do 6?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it's wrong, I have no idea why it's wrong. Hold on a second. Let's see. I got 857 100. 857 100. Hey, hold on. Let's see what it says. Maybe just rounding.
You didn't put it on.
Oh, when you gave me the digits, we cut it off at 1. When you said 1, and I said, okay, that's good enough. That's why. Look at the answers. Did I get the answer? No, because I cut mine off at 1.
You had to keep.
You got to keep carrying the digits. So use all the digits in your calculator. That's why it's wrong. The process is correct. So down here, for those of you, and I know it's 12:07, I got 3 minutes, those of you going into convulsions. Hold on and I'll show you where I'm at. Right here, somebody give me that number. Right here, I said, that's good enough, and I shouldn't have because I didn't read the directions. Somebody give me the actual number.
0.857.
857
1428571.
28571. Okay, that's the number that they want you to use. Okay, Miss Sullivan, Miss Woodward, does that help?
Kind of.
Don't
Little bit,
worry.
yeah.
Listen, don't worry, because y'all gonna send more questions. Monday, or what's today? Wednesday, we're gonna go over more of these. If you send them. If you don't, I'm
I
gonna
don't know
go
if you're gonna be able to
10-1-1.
go over all my questions on Wednesday.
What?
I said, I don't know that you're gonna be able to cover all my questions on
Go
Wednesday.
ahead
We
and
only
send
get
them.
an
I'll tell you
hour.
what, I'd rather speed up doing all of your questions than not do any of them. So I'll just have to find time to do them. Okay? All right, let me check. Y'all are all here. So everybody here? Are we missing anybody?
Let me find out we
Okay.
got the whole class on both sides.
Ma'am?
I said, let me find out we got the whole class on both sides today.
Not today. We got one missing. All right, y'all get on out of here. Have a good day. And I'll see
Thank
y'all
you.
Wednesday.
I thought you didn't.
All righty.
And send me questions.
Well, she's not.
No problem.
See y'all.